Trey McKenney has lined up some official visits for this fall and winter. Cart, your team is on this list. I'm sure you feel good about that. There are 6 schools on this list. In fact, 4 of these schools now play in the Big Ten Conference. So it kind of seems highly likely Trey McKenney could end up in our favorite conference. And we're going to cover this guy for a very long time. The 6 schools are USC on September 1st, Michigan State on October 4th, Oregon October 12th, Notre Dame November 9th, Ohio State November 30th, and Creighton December 4th. This is the number 13 ranked player in the ESPN 100, 5-star guard in the class of 2025. Just recently played with Team USA, where he didn't have the greatest showing, but certainly was treated like he was one of the 2 best guards on that team, along with Darius Acuff, State of Michigan kid. If you watch the channel, you're familiar with who Trey McKenney is because we talk about him all the time. Creighton, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan State, Oregon, USC. What are your thoughts on those being the 6 official visits?
Well, I mean, my initial thought is, and I feel like this is, I don't know if everybody does this when they look at recruits that are possibly considering their school, but the first thing I noticed from this list is that this is a winnable recruitment. Like I'm not, and I'm not disrespecting any of the schools on this program, but with the current state of college basketball, there is a little bit of chills at this point that go through my very big back spine when there is a school like UConn on the list or a Kansas or something like that, where I'm just like, that's gonna be a tough one to win. But look, you and I have done a lot of Trey McKenney videos, right? And one of the things we always say is that his list would look maybe different compared to other like 5-star kids or top 20 kids when he originally had schools like, TCU and I think Georgetown was another one, and Rutgers. But looking at this list, I think it's a very winnable recruitment for Michigan State, and it has me feeling good about it. With that said, there's some schools on here that are no slouches. Like if you're a wing big guard type like Trey McKenney, Creighton's probably very enticing to him. Playing for Shrews is probably also enticing. Oregon is Oregon, like Nike, greatness, yes. Altman, Ruru. USC, you got Muss. Like Muss has done some great things with some guards when it has time in Arkansas, and Cali has its own kind of pull to it. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Also interesting to see like how long like these like there are 5 of these, and it stems from September all the way to December. So it also maybe gives you a feeling like that it's going to be a while before this decision's made.
Yeah, this is a list that, like, if I was playing like a college basketball my player video game mode, this would be my list. Like, I don't want to necessarily like immediately put the blue bloods on the list. I want like quirky, fun, uniform, good offenses. That's what this is. And you're right. For a Michigan State fans' purpose here, you got to feel really good because, Cart, here are some schools that have offered Trey McKenney that he does not currently have an official visit lined up to: Alabama, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kansas State, Michigan, Tennessee, Texas, Texas A&M, UCLA. Those are schools I would not want to see in a recruitment head-to-head if I was a team. Not saying Michigan State can't out-recruit those schools, but certainly if I'm Notre Dame, I don't want to see those schools on this list. So I think all 6 of these schools probably feel like, oh, damn, we got a chance here. It also leads me to my next point. Does anyone know how good Trey McKenney is? Like, I feel like this guy, out of every high school recruit we have covered in the last calendar year, I am more confused on the caliber of this player than anyone, because he is a consensus 5-star. Okay. He's got offers from the Blue Bloods. Okay. Team USA treats him like he's the go-to scorer on the wing. Okay. He plays like shit. All right. That's weird. His official visits are lined up, and they're not really the greatest schools that have offered him. Okay. And I don't mean that to disrespect Creighton or Ohio State. These are obviously good programs, but this is a list I would expect for a guy who's like 90th in the country, not 15th in the country or wherever ESPN has him. So Like, can you make sense of that for me quickly? Because like we've covered McKenney long enough. These are not the schools I would expect for him to be lining up as like he narrows his choices.
Well, I think it speaks to Trey McKenney's his game is unique, right? Like he's not like an athlete. He doesn't have great size for an off guard. He's he's more sturdily built. I'll use in the as words to describe him, but he just has great feel. His pace is good. He's a bucket. He has a wide array, sorry, of moves that he can use. Um, and he's just he's a tough guard. And I think because maybe his size in regards to like what he is as an off-ball guard, I think I think that might affect what his list looks like a little bit in my eyes. And look, I'm a real big Trey McKenney fan. I always have been. To me, the Team USA thing was kind of it was a tough showing, like straight up. It was a tough showing for him. But, I don't think that's who he is as a player. Um, and I mean, look, this is sounding a lot like another guard that you compared him to kind of early on. We were talking about him. You said he was a Deion Waiters type guard. This is kind of how Deion Waiters recruitment went. Like this is how people kind of view Deion Waiters at the same time. So it's like it, it is somewhat like, okay, this is a 5-star kid. Why does his list look like this? But it also makes sense given, his profile, measurables and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't mean to disrespect the kid. I'm still a fan of his game. I certainly wish Michigan had made the cut for one of these visits. They've fallen out of this now that Juwan Howard's not the head coach.
I think they are
Um,
set. I think he did mention like later that he is still setting up he's planning on getting out for some visits. Like, cause I think you guys already hosted. I
he's
think you guys hosted him on some unofficials,
he's been in Michigan a lot. Yeah, I don't know how many
right?
official visits do you get these days.
Well, Michigan State's isn't official actually.
Oh,
The one he set for Michigan State's unofficial.
okay. Well, per 24/7 high school hoops, they were listed as one of the official visits he scheduled. So,
Right. So I'm looking at I'm looking at our good friend of the program, Joe Tipton.
shout out to Tipton. Should
Yeah.
always look at Tipton first. Okay. All right. Well, interesting. Quick fit discussion here. I mean, I'd assume you're gonna say like Trey McKenney's game is what it is. It can work at any of these places, but like Trey McKenney and a Micah Shrewsbury offense, what happens?
I think it looks pretty special, actually.
Do they try to run the Jalen Pickett like big bodied play through him in the post stuff, or what's the pitch there?
I think they can, except it'll be like I don't know if he has even the size that Pickett had, or necessarily maybe the passing ability. I think he's a way more gifted scorer than Jalen Pickett.
Okay. Ohio State's been doing a lot of good things on the recruiting trail lately. Dorian Jones committed to Ohio State yesterday. We are going to have a video on that as well. I mean, still not a name I think you get super concerned about seeing, like recruiting against if you're Michigan State, but you kind of got to take note of the momentum that Diebler has, right?
Right. I honestly the only school that would really scare me if it came up on here would be like if Indiana gets really involved
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think that would work. I think it would work. I think he would work in that style. I think they could pitch him on the NBA style. He's not Jalen Hood-Schifino, but like that was a guard who wasn't necessarily the greatest athlete, and they ran pick and rolls from him with a good big, and he was able to get buckets in the mid range a lot. I think Trey McKenney can be that type of scorer as well. So that and then Creighton, I don't think you can argue with what they do with like that 3-headed guard kind of system that they have there. I think it'd be something that an offense that would suit McKenney.
The school that feels the most ominous to me is definitely USC. Am I crazy for that?
Because Muss is gonna get it going, right?
I mean, Muss is just like Muss is a guy. He's a dangerous man in a head-to-head one-on-one setting. I wouldn't want to see that. But I'm not saying this is one-on-one, but like I don't know. You get him out to the beach on the West Coast a little bit. Muss has his shirt off. That would scare me a little bit.
Is Muss the scariest under 5'8" man in the world?
I doubt that's true. I bet there's got to be some people with a more ominous presence.
Besides, okay, Doug McDaniel and Muss are coming down at you, right? Which one are you more scared of?
How tall was Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh,
I think Trey McKenney is going to go to Michigan State. And I think he's going to eat a lot of people's faces.